Hello guys, welcome back to a new video. It's always so nice to sit down and have a chat to my YouTube community. My name is Ruby Lee. I basically share all the things that I'm doing around my coaching and mentoring business and how I make daily sales. One of the stigmas of being a coach, and especially, an online coach, is that you tend to be a little bit more launch based, or you tend to be a little bit more, a feast or famine. There's either clients coming in or there's no clients at all. My entire channel is dedicated to showing you how, as a coach, you can bring in predictable daily income through very simple moves that you can make day on day. I talk about everything from the tech, how you set things up, products, pricing. And today I'm actually going to share something with you which isn't particularly new to me. It's not a new strategy that I use. I've used it right throughout my entire coaching career of 8 years, but I still know it's something that is approached by a lot of coaches and mentors as something that's perhaps a little bit more risky, something that you don't necessarily really want to do. And I want to show you why it is actually the best way to test something in the market, to work out whether or not there's even a need or a want for it before you actually create anything at all and get paid in the meantime. If you're interested to hear what this is exactly, then you've landed on exactly the right video, and I'm so excited that you're here. So in context of daily sales, there is this notion that you need to have things completely recorded, done, put together, perfectly branded before you start selling a single thing. The way that I've approached it over the years, and for the majority of the sales that I've made, which is now over $4 million in sales, it has been done through this method of putting it out there to market to see if people actually want the thing before I even build it. So you sell before you actually build. And because this concept is still relatively scary, maybe new, kind of heard of out there in the industry, I want to break down exactly what that looks like and what that process looks like in real time. So I've actually just come right off the back of doing this exact strategy or method, if you'd like to call it that, where the product did not exist, but I was already receiving money to build the product. And the reason why I love this so much is because there's too many coaches out there that I've seen spend ages, weeks, months even, building out something that nobody buys. And eventually that's so disheartening. When I started out my coaching practice, the very first course that I'd ever put out was a career coaching offer. I used to be a career coach because my background was in HR and recruiting. And I made this course which had something to do with how to find your dream job. Hello, you amazing human you. It is fantastic to have you here in this course. And it was a 6-week course. We built it all out in Teachable, I believe. And it took so long, to get the scripts together. It was the first time I'd ever made a course. I wanted to get the right lighting, the right mic, and, get it all edited and beautifully uploaded. By the time it was completely done, crossed the T's, dotted the I's, made everything look stunning, I put it out there to market and not a single person had bought that. It felt like 6 weeks down the drain. It felt so disheartening. And I actually really questioned my career choices at that point to leave my day job. Like, what are you doing, Ruby? Like, how could you possibly let this get to this point when not a single person wanted to buy this course? So let's now fast forward. Like I said, I'm 8 years into my coaching and mentoring journey. And you may have seen in the last video, if you haven't, you may want to revisit that next. I sold out an entire mastermind using a Google Doc. The Google Doc was only 507 words long. It was not formatted, and it just did the job for me. So much so that it's continuing to sell mastermind spots and one-to-ones and one-off sessions, and it's bringing in all kinds of amazing clients and revenue for the business. So after this amazing run with that Google Doc strategy, I went straight into creating a brand new offer called the Google Doc Launch Method. Now this, by the way, I had not built yet. So let me bring this up for you so you can have a look at what exactly goes into a sales page like this before I've even built it. Now, please keep in mind that this is something that I have now since built. I built it, during the last week or so, but prior to this actually even existing, here it is. It was very much still non-existent. Okay, so this is the Google Doc launch method, and it's got the pricing there. It's currently in a sale, so pre-sale or an early bird sale. So if you're seeing this after the fact, which I think you will by the time this video is out, Follow me on Instagram, join my email list. You'll get all the best prices at the very beginning of my launches. But either way, $97 is still an amazing price for everything that's on the inside. I'll show you what's on the inside too. Anyway, so I go on to talk about how I'm creating a video masterclass. I'm going to show everybody the full breadcrumb strategy, the DM conversations, the screenshots, the workbook. Fun fact, the workbook didn't exist on the original sales page. I ended up making a workbook, so I added that in. My voice note strategy, how I converted with all the flow, people saying yes, and how easy it was from creating the Instagram story to receiving the payment, what you get. This is actually quite fun. This is last week's video. So if you tuned in, you'll see that it's quite familiar. So I put that in as sort of a little teaser as to the philosophy behind the Google Doc itself, a testimonial there from someone who's already used my Google Doc strategy, and then off you go. So there's the checkout and you are done. So I had this up and running, and like I mentioned already, I didn't have anything behind that. So as soon as someone had bought this, they received an email that said, fantastic, you're in, yay, congratulations. You'll be receiving the Google Doc launch method on April the 7th, which is actually, fun fact, the exact day today that I'm filming this. So today, everybody got the Google Doc launch method, and that's very exciting. But I will say the reason why I did it this way is because I didn't know if there was an appetite for people to want to learn the Google Doc launch method. I wasn't sure if it was not like, a hot topic, it wasn't cool enough, if people just really didn't want the messy, undone way of launching, coaching, and mentoring the way that I do. But as soon as I put the page out, there were bites literally within the first 5 minutes of going live and me talking about it. So I knew from the beginning that there was some sort of interest. I started building the Google Doc launch method masterclass after 5 sales. So typically for me, I like to make 5 sales just to know that yes, there's enough of a demand. And I know that's not all that much, but to me, that's just an indicator of, hey, like 5 people want it. I'm making it for these 5. And either way, I'm going to still, promote it ongoing, and people are still going to want to jump in. We landed on a lot more than 5 people in the end. But if, let's say you put something out there and nobody joins, at that point, what have you lost? Absolutely nothing. Probably you've gained more time than you realize, because you don't need to make everything, like I mentioned with my 6-week course. And you've come to the realization that's like, wow, I actually really saved myself there in some form. But the only time that you can actually back out of an offer is if you can say hand on heart, you have actually made the effort to promote it. If you put out a sales page and you're not really talking about it anywhere on your main platforms, and you're like, look, proving a point again, no one's buying from me, that's not it. So what I did to promote the Google Doc was I knew the channels that I was going to. I have one short form platform that I'm all in with, which is Instagram. And I have 2 long form platforms, the podcast and YouTube. And of course, my email list. So I am pulling all of those levers. I'm telling everybody that I know, I've got this out there. If you guys are interested, pre-purchase it. You will get the whole thing on the 7th of April, or pick a date. If you are not doing that and you're just kind of whispering it out there into the abyss, like, oh, by the way, I'm thinking about launching this, and then you only talk about it once and that's it, then that's not it. That's just not it. Okay. Give it at least a couple of days where you are talking about it consistently before you make a call. Now, if let's say, 1 or 2 people buy and it's not really meeting your benchmark, you have options there. You can tell them that, hey, I've decided not to run it this time round, and instead I'm offering you this. So you can bring them into something else. You can offer them maybe even a 1-to-1. I know it's not ideal because you're building low ticket for a reason, but you will get so much data out of those 1-to-1s. You will get so much insight around why that person was interested in buying your small low ticket offer that it's actually going to help you build a more badass offer in the future. So I really want you to play the long game and think about the future with these things. Now let's have a look at what is on the inside of the membership. So now that I've built it all out, that's not the one I want. All right, much better view. Okay, so this is what you get inside of the membership. As soon as you now join, right? Remembering that the people who joined at the start did not get this. They just got like a holding note and they were cool with that. They knew what they were buying into. But as soon as someone joins now, they get all of this. And it is spectacular, if I do say so myself. I actually wrote an email to the list saying, oops, I actually mispriced this offer because there's so much in it. Like if you have a look at the modules themselves, I've built out 7 modules, and the first 2 modules, the first module and I believe the 5th module is really chunky. And it ended up becoming more of a mastermind discussion. It was at that level, like absolutely crazy. So inside of module 5, for example, it literally talks through my entire DM strategy. You can see, what I'm saying to people in the DMs. And then there's the workbook as well. So if we download the workbook, we should be able to open it from here. Okay, so this is the workbook. They get the full workbook, 18 pages alongside with it. So off it goes, and it talks through the whole theory. It's absolutely chunky. That's what I mean by the fact that I actually mispriced it a little bit, but that is all good. That's part of the whole let's build it and we'll see if they come. And if they do, we're going to make something so spectacular, and then I can adjust the pricing from there. And it has just been a wonderful way that I've sold all along. It's saved me a lot of time. There's been a few instances where people don't buy, and that's cool. Just, all right, well, that was just my crazy idea that I thought people would want, and it's just not the right timing. I'll park it for next time. And I'll find a better, moment in the business trends to put something like that out there. And there's other times that it's completely floored me, where I've just gone, I did not expect that to go so well. And that's exactly what the Google Doc launch method has done. So a lot of people were interested to hear, obviously, how I launch high ticket in this way, what I put inside of my document, how I converse with people in the DMs. It is an absolute masterclass, if I do say so myself, in selling without selling from a place where it feels really easy and soulful and effortless. So anyway, I wanted to show you this because I know that for a lot of you, what feels most disheartening is realizing that you put a lot of time, effort, and energy into some sort of an offer, but the demand just isn't there. And how are you supposed to know whether or not people are going to want this? The only way you're going to do this is by putting it out to market. And to me, this is the most frictionless way of doing it. You're not losing anything, like I said. You're not, putting in a heap of time behind it. If anything, an easy checkout page, a way to chat about it on socials, and ultimately, if let's say you end up dumping the idea because it's just not great, no one's going to know except maybe the 1 or 2 people who did buy or wanted to buy. But the greatest scheme of things, people forget, okay? Like I think sometimes we make it so much more of a big deal because you think everyone's watching what you're doing. They don't care. They're too absorbed in their own world. They care so much about what's going on with themselves. They're not there taking notes on the fact that you didn't get anyone buy on your offer. And if you did, then that's a bonus. Like I think ultimately you have to get to this point where you're brave enough to test your ideas and put it out there in a really monetizable way, not just in a way that's going to live really vibrantly on a whiteboard and then it goes absolutely nowhere. So I really wanted to share that. Now, from a sales psychology perspective, I want to talk about why this actually works, because I think a lot of coaches here sell it before it exists and then they immediately think, yeah, like people are not going to want that. It's not done up enough. Isn't it unprofessional? What if they ask for a refund? In my experience, the complete opposite has been true. And here's why. My buyers are purchasing the outcome, not the product. So they don't actually want a PDF or a video module. They want the result. And if you pre-sell in a way that communicates that outcome really, really well and really confidently, and you're sure of, what it is that you're delivering, honestly, even the timing becomes quite secondary. There have been moments, right, where it's not like I've missed a deadline, but I've realized I needed to put more in. So I've still met the timing that I said I was going to meet, but to say, hey, there's actually a second part which is going to drop next week. I realized whilst making this, I needed to have a whole other part added to this section. So, it's sort of like a surprise and delight, like more than I'm putting in there, but they'll wait for it also. If you need to delay it by a day or 2, they'll wait for it because they want what is promised. Remembering that transparency actually converts a lot better than polish. This is where a lot of coaches fall over. They really feel the branding needs to be up front and center, that it needs to be so beautifully done, photography and lighting, but really transparency is what converts. What I mean by this is that if you tell somebody up front, hey, I'm building this. And here is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm going to get to and get at and show you behind the scenes of. Honestly, I feel like that is actually more convincing than a perfectly produced course and fully finished sales pages, at least for those of you who are selling coaching and mentoring that is very much about like, I'm on the ground with you, right? It signals that you're a real person, that you're in the trenches with them. You're not a faceless AI coach or robot or funnel, but you're actually doing the things that they want to do as well. And, in a market that's completely saturated with overpromising and information overload for no reason at all, that realness is going to cut through. A purchase creates psychological commitment on both sides. So when somebody pays you for something, they stop being a passive observer. What I'd like you to think about from this point of view is you're wanting somebody to say, you know what? Yes, I want to purchase that. Not just, I want to download that for free. I want to watch this free thing. Maybe one day I'll, take the credit card out and buy something for $7. You want to think about, what is it that people are saying yes to? Because it offers a quick yes. It offers a quick win for them. It tells you and your business data, hey, we're on the right track here. So this is why I am such a big fan of low ticket offers. Secondly, I'm a really big fan of pre-sold buyers, because they're the ones that are going to actually give you the indication of like, you're on the right track. People want this. There's market need for it. There's market fit for it. And more than likely, or certainly what I found, is that buyers who buy in the pre-sale often show up so much more engaged. Today, for example, being the day that I was releasing the course, I got messages in my DMs from people. I keep looking down here. My phone's down here. Got messages from people in the DM going, oh my God, today is Google Doc day. Like, I'm not even kidding. They knew what day it was that the whole course was going to be released. And boy, are they in for such a treat. And that's really exciting. I think there's something about that where it builds this community connection and this, this level of growth together, this level of trust together. And I just really wanted to share that new paradigm with you. And I've done this across the board, by the way, with pre-sold masterminds, pre-sold masterclasses, pre-sold done-for-you resources and courses. Like the Google Doc launch method is not new to me. And I'm not just saying this because I've had this one-off success with it. I've done it for 8 years and it has continued to produce some of the best clients that I've ever received and ever worked with. So I really hope that this has helped you think about things, and let me know in the comments if you have any more questions about this particular method or this way of doing things. Better yet, go and grab yourself the Google Doc launch method. I'll leave it linked below under this video so that you can go ahead and dive into all of that goodness. Who knows, it might still be on pre-sale if you're clicking on it nice and quickly. Go ahead and watch last week's video where I talk about how I sold out the mastermind using just the Google Doc to give you more context. Otherwise, I would love if you could thumbs up this video, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye guys.